I think we see from Spain a lot of what they do best, but they couldn't ultimately find the goal until late. How do you assess the performance, Grella?
Thought Spain were excellent, except for in the opponent's box, in the last box, creating chances. You know, they relied on a lot of shots from outside the box. The second goal comes from a shot from outside the box, but everywhere else they're so good. The way they press the ball, they're so good. The way that they go win the ball, they're so good. They keep it. The little touches when the other team clears it, the way they keep it, like in the tight spots, they set the bar for me. Like if you're a U.S. fan and you're watching the U.S. and you're wondering, because I see a lot of comments coming out now about the U.S. saying like, oh, you got to believe, like we got to still believe, like we still got work to do. Like unless you start to look more like Spain in possession, like when you have the ball in those tight areas and keep it, you know, high percentage passes, low risk reward, understanding that. I think Troy said it earlier, the nuances of football. Until you understand that, you can jump as high as you want, you can run as fast as you want, you can be as athletic as you want. It won't matter because this is a game of football. And nobody, not even France, play the football that Spain play. Spain are the best in the world with the football, and that's why they're so difficult to beat. The scoreline looks a lot closer than it was. The game was close. Credit to Belgium, because I thought they were fantastic. But Spain is the gold standard with the football now.
Nigel, you were saying that you feel like this is the best punch that Spain can throw. What did you see from them in the game today?
Listen, everything that Grella said is right. They're very good with the ball, technically gifted, technically in tight areas. They play a lot of one-touch, two-touch football. When they do have extra touches, when they're dribbling or driving to attack space, I still think for me that when you talk about the striking situation, I feel they're missing that striker. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it's just the reality of just knowledge of the game. If they have a striker, when you watch some of those moments when Omar or Lamine are driving with the ball, running at teams, if they had a striker who's ready to play off the shoulder and go in, they'll be a real dangerous team. I think that they played some good stuff today. This was the toughest test that they've had in this World Cup, and they overcame that hurdle. I think that the maximum, for me, I think that this is the maximum we'll see from Spain. The biggest thing that makes them any more better will be if Lamine Yamal's performances get better. That's a big thing. We saw Nico Williams come on the left-hand side, did okay, didn't look too bad. But Grella's right, they played well. They played well, they played a really good game today. I think it's going to be a very interesting game with them and France in the next round. But they are a fantastic team. You can't take that away from them.
Troy, do you think Merino is the answer? They should go to him sooner?
Yeah, I think so. I've liked him for Arsenal for a few years. I think he's just got that nose to sniff out a goal. He's always in the right places at the right time. If you think to this goal, it's a shot from distance. Both centre-backs, like centre-backs normally do, watching the play. He's on the move, and he's the first to react. He's only 2 yards away from the goalie. Goalie does spill it and should do better, but he just spills it 2 yards in front. Moreno being on the front foot, and then also the cuteness to lift it up. So many people would try to just punch that back in. It would hit goalie, go wide. He lifts it back up. It's a wonderful finish. But I like him just as an option anyway, because he's good in the air. He can link the play. Him and Havertz obviously play for Arsenal, but in this situation, he's the Havertz for this team. He can link the game. He can do the deep stuff. He's a tidy footballer, but he's also very underrated in running in behind, and he just understands and sniffs the moments. There's moments in the game which Nigel alludes to, when Olmo takes it on the back foot and gets half turned, and he's looking to slip players in. Everyone wants the ball to feet, and I think with Nico Williams and obviously this fella now, Moreno, coming back into full fitness, you just have a different option to attack, especially when you look at this French team, who are going to be just as quick, just as mobile, if not better. You need to make sure that they have to defend behind. But today I thought they were very good. I disagree with Nigel. I think there's a little bit more to come out of this Spain team, if I'm being totally honest. Nico Williams on that left-hand side opens up so much for Lamine Yamal on the right. And then they've still got quality. Like the bench is a joke. So I think there's still another 10, 20% for this team to get better.
Would you also say it's a fair criticism to say that maybe Spain tried to be a bit too cute today at times in the edge of the box, trying to create or score that perfect goal? And the goal comes from literally having a shot out from outside, keeper spills it. Not a pretty goal, but it's still a goal. But when you watch them play in general play, they want to score that perfect goal. They want to play the little nice 1-2. And against tough opposition, it's not going to be like that.
Yeah, sometimes it's one or even 4 passes too many. There's a moment in the second half when it comes out to Lamine Yamal. He wraps it in. I think it was to Pedri on the edge of the box, and Pedri instantly wants to do a 1-2. The defender's already running because he knows it's coming. He just turns on the back foot and he passes it 8 yards out into the goal. But they're always trying to get the perfect goal. And when they do score it, wow, it's fantastic. Everyone has to say, to Grella's point, they're the best. But sometimes in moments in games, especially against stubborn opposition like Belgium, just crack one from the edge of the box. You never know, a spill, a deflection, but it also makes the opposition's defenders go, oh, that's what come. We'll go up a little bit. Then you can do the little passes. Become a little bit too predictable at times. But, again, they're exceptional.
Let's bring in our Spanish football expert, Phil Kitromilides, for more. And Phil, on top of the Spain performance, it was another figure in Spanish football that we see often in Thibaut Courtois, who comes off with the injury that might have also made a big difference in this game.
Yeah, and he was in tears, and he was perhaps thinking, this might be my last appearance at a World Cup. He's 34, next World Cup in 4 years' time. I wouldn't put it past him because he's the best goalkeeper in the world. But I think he probably knew that his side's chances were going off with him as well, because he's Belgium's best player. He's their only world-class elite best in the world player that they have, and it's a shame for him because he is an extraordinary goalkeeper, and we possibly might not see him at the World Cup again. Certainly not starting matches. And the fact that he went off, Pau Cubarsí stepping up and taking that shot on, is something that Spain should have done more of. Courtois come off, this goalkeeper's come on, he'll be nervous these last 20 minutes. We should take more shots. Cubarsí had the foresight to do it. He scored 2 goals in 128 games for Barcelona. He is not a prolific centre-back in terms of goals scored, in terms of shooting from distance, but he's got the confidence, he's got the ability to produce that shot. Keeper should do better, but the winning goal comes from it. So, yeah, shame to see Courtois go off like that. But I think him going off was a direct consequence of perhaps Spain getting that winning goal.
Hey, Phil, Lamine Yamal, 1 goal, 6 games, and you couple that with the performances. Is it good enough? Is it good enough from him? Is it good enough for Spain to win the World Cup?
I mean, it's good enough if he's doing other stuff. And he himself has been on record saying, actually, I really like giving assists. I prefer giving assists. I'm all about giving assists. He hasn't been doing that either. I thought it was disappointing from Lamine today. I expected more from him. We were on the show last night talking about expecting him to step up. He himself had been saying, he was on the front page of the Catalan sports papers saying, my big game will come. Well, today wasn't his big game. I thought he was trying to do too much, trying to take too many people on. The passes or even the shots weren't coming quickly enough, and it was disappointing from Lamine. And I've defended him throughout the tournament because he's not just about the goals, he's not just about the assists either. It's also what he inspires in the opponent. But I think today he was pretty well marshalled, and he's got another level to step up. We know that. It's just he's 18. He's in America. He's seeing himself on the side of skyscrapers. This is a huge thing for a teenager, and maybe it is a little bit difficult for him to deal with. I'm not saying it's gone to his head, but maybe he's trying to perform to the crowd because the crowds have turned up to see Lamine, and so far they've not seen anywhere near the best of him.
Yeah. It's a really weird one, Phil, in regards to this Spain team. They leave you applauding their dominance with the ball and how well they pass the ball, and then they leave you going, we want more. We want more in the final third. We want more quicker passes, more shots from the edge of the box, more crosses into the box, different players playing. How do you sum up this World Cup so far for Spain? Because it's left me with more questions than answers at this moment in time. And they're really good. Okay. It's weird. It's a weird thing.
It is a weird one, isn't it? Yeah. So they're really good, but actually they could be a lot better, and they should do lots of different things better, but still they manage to dominate almost every game they play. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Let's just underline the fact that this is historic for Spain. They're in the semi-finals, only the second time ever that they've reached the semi-finals. The only other time was in 2010 when they won it. I mean, what they've achieved tonight is really, really big for them. And they've done it without necessarily being at their best and players being injured and coming back from injury. We haven't seen the 2 players that were so fundamental intrinsically to their success at the Euros, Nico and Lamine, be anywhere near their full sharpness. So it is a weird one. It's a difficult one to get your head around. But I think, essentially Spain are Spain. Spain are the Spain that we've always seen, but without those 2 wingers that characterised them in the Euros. And without that killer in the box, that's what they call them in Spain. You know, they call him a killer in the box. You know, someone who puts away chances in terms of a number 9. I've extolled the virtues of Mikel Merino, but he is a player who has a lot more mobility. He drops deep a lot. He plays with his back to goal a lot. He brings others in. He's not necessarily going to be in the box all the time to put away the chances. So yeah, they're a terrific team, and they could still be better if they do some things better, or certain players raise their game a little bit. It's an unbelievably attractive game against France, whom Spain have beaten the last 2 times that they've played them. They beat them in the Euros, and they also beat them in the Nations League semi-final last year. And that was a France side that had Doué, Dembélé, Mbappé, and Olise all starting, and Spain managed to beat them. So it's a terrifically exciting semi-final.
Phil, just really quickly though, you say that Spain, this is the second time getting to the semi-final, so it's historic. But all of that goes out the window, doesn't it, when they are the bookies' favourites to come in? It's like the expectation. Again, it's that weird thing of, yes, it's great because it's only the second time, but also the expectation, the bookies' favourites, this is the minimum that people will be expecting.
Yeah, I was doing something silly. I was arguing with people on the internet. Never do it, guys. It's completely pointless. But I was doing it today because I suggested that actually quarterfinals was the bare minimum that Spain should have aimed for. You know, if you look at their historic record, they've only been to the semi-finals once. Quarters it's difficult to get to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. They went out on the group stage at 2014. They went out in the last 16 of the last 2 competitions. You know, to make it through to the quarters, bare minimum. I'm not saying it's a huge achievement, but it's a bare minimum. It's not a disaster if you go out at the quarterfinals. That was my opinion. A lot of people disagreed with me. It does tend to happen on the internet. But yeah, now they're in the semi-finals. I'm not going to use the phrase, Troy, that you so love. It's not a free hit for Spain in the semi-finals now, but. They're absolutely not, but I think they have got a little bit of pressure off their backs now by making that semi-final. You know, whatever they do now, it's been a decent tournament for Spain to get to the semi-finals, and if they go out, they'll go out to France. You know, no shame, no disgrace in that. Given where Spain have come from, and I say it again, in Brazil, out in the group stages, Russia and Qatar, out in the last 16, really disappointing performances. The fact that. And remember those 2 games, you know, against Russia and against Morocco, just unbelievable amounts of possession and unable to find a way past these defences and losing on penalties. Well, they've been able to find a way now in 3 knockout fixtures, and that is meritorious for Spain.
And so much talk is going to be about this semifinal matchup now. 2 absolute heavyweights in the world game, France against Spain. How do you initially see the matchup between these 2?
I see it as it's going to be a very exciting game, and I'm entirely looking forward to it. You know, if you look at the two sides, the firepower that France have is, you know, way above what Spain have. Not according to Lamine Yamal, because there's a very interesting interview that the Spanish Federation put out when they're interviewing Lamine and Nico, and the interviewer says, "Oof, you know, France's front four, they've got a lot of firepower," and Lamine sort of indignantly goes, "Yeah, what about us?" And Nico says, "Oh yeah, we're pretty good as well." But I think, you know, most people watching these 2 sides will think France edge it in terms of the final third, but in terms of who's going to dominate possession, who's going to be able to control the game in midfield, Spain will dominate and control possession in midfield, and then the defences are relatively even. You've got the 2 best centre-back partnerships in the tournament. I don't think there's too many doubts about that. So it's even, and I'm really looking forward to it. I would say France are slight favourites given what we've seen so far, but given that Spain have beaten them the last 2 times, they'll be pretty confident that they can find a way.
Phil Kitromilides, our Spanish football expert, after Spain get through to the semi-final, beating Belgium by 2-1. Appreciate the time, sir.
Speak soon, guys.